Good morning. Welcome to Real Talk. I'm Claudia with Claudia's Door Decor, and today Lauren of Beautiful Mesh is joining me. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, give us an introduction as far as like your location, where you're located, and where people can find you.
Okay, I'm in Virginia. I'm currently in my floral room, as you can see behind me. Yeah, I live in Virginia, and my Etsy shop is Beautiful Mesh, and my Etsy teaching website is Handmade Sellers University. So my website, though, my main website to get to everything is laurenkilgore.com. So as long as you know my name, you can get there.
So, as long as you know her name, you have literally keys to the kingdom
Yeah,
because she
you
did
have it
make
all.
her name a .com. How genius is that? That's like because you can incorporate everything under your
Right.
name.
It's just easier.
So,
If like you remember my name, you don't might not remember the business, but yeah.
well, there's no copyright issues. There's no
Right.
Unfortunately, though, with my full name, I cannot tell you how many people have my full name. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Like it's bizarre. I know it's very bizarre.
Oh.
Here's a silly and men forgive me, but my gynecologist office when I was in Florida had two of us and we had the same birthday, not the same birth year.
Oh,
Talk
that's
about
weird.
mess. And this is my married name. I'm like, this is bizarre.
That is
So we always
weird.
had to give our full birthday so that they pulled up the right records. I'm
Hmm.
like, this is weird. But anyway,
That
sorry
is
guys if that made you uncomfortable, but
it's
it's
fine though.
reality. It's reality. It is what it is. All right, Lauren, let's share a little bit about your experience, like what you've been doing. You shared with me that you started this 10 years ago.
It makes me feel old when I say that, but yeah.
Well, it's not that it's old. It just shows
Yeah.
people how lucrative it can be, how long, like longevity, like you can do this for a long time.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I started in 2014 and but I did it as like a side hustle, which is what most of us probably do up until 3 years ago. And then 3 years ago, I quit my 9 to 5 and now I just do this all day,
Which is
every
the
day.
dream. That's
Yeah, that
literally
was
the
totally
dream.
my dream. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's fantastic. And what did you used to do?
I was an accountant for 20 some years. So I worked in public accounting and private accounting. But most of the time it was for one company just as like their primary accountant.
So when you and I talked, we talked about left brain versus right brain, right? Because we talked about the fact that left brain is analytical,
Right.
right?
Left. Yes.
Totally. Yes,
Yeah.
left is
Correct.
analytical
Yes.
and right is creative. So it
Uh-huh.
was interesting to me that how much it plays into this because your left brain keeps you with numbers.
Yeah.
Everything is number related, right?
I like numbers.
So how does that play into the creative part though? Because it's got to somehow.
I I feel like yeah, so when I make wreaths, I'm very analytical about them and I have to like my placement has to be right. Like that's why I'm not so great at swags. Like I really like wreaths because they're circles and you can have them symmetrical and you can have the things at the you know what I mean? Like so I started off with wreaths with like the wreath ties so like everything has there's always the same number of ties. And so you can have a pattern and you can have a recipe. Like that is what I need. I need that routine, that recipe. Um, because I do struggle with the right brain part, the super creative and thinking out of the box. Like that is not my forte.
Like
I
pulling up mesh and just cutting it. Like you see,
no. I've just started to do that, but
yeah,
that weirded me out to no
yeah.
end. Like how can you not have everything the exact same size? Like that was just weird to me.
But the thing is, the truth of the matter is once you place it all in,
You
does
can tell.
size really
I
matter?
but I was just like I just had to be that way. Yeah, I had to have everything just so. But yeah, and I've always said like I am okay with like the business part and the analytical part and the numbers part, but I need the design help. So I join groups and I join lives to watch people and ask questions on like the design stuff because I still struggle with that. That's where I need the help.
But what's crazy is, right, is a lot of people have no issue, none whatsoever with the design side. But man, don't do numbers with me. Like I
Right.
don't want to do anything with numbers. So that's the big differences of left brain versus right brain
Hmm.
creative.
Yeah.
because if somebody could come in and take care of all my books, I'd be very happy. Like, I'd be
Right.
thrilled
Yeah.
if somebody said, "Hey, I got your books. Okay, here you go." I don't
Right.
want to deal with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that attributes a lot to your success. I think that has a lot to do. And even like when you're teaching somebody, you have to give them some kind of recipe to go
Yeah.
by. You
Yeah.
can't just say, "I measure with my heart," because you hear that
Hmm.
a lot. I measure
Yeah.
with my heart. Well, what does
What
that
does that
mean?
even mean? I don't know what that means. I
Yeah,
need I need
yeah, yeah.
numbers. Yeah.
Exactly. So those aspects, I get that, but I understand also the creative part. There's just some people are just that skilled that
Hmm.
can just go with the flow and have no problem. That's not
Hmm.
everybody though.
Hmm.
So, but there's a little bit of background in her creative style. Now, what's even funnier is that if you watch Lauren's posts, you know the room she's sitting in right now. You
Yeah.
do. You know the room that she's sitting in right now because you watched it come to life. Because you shared the
Mhm.
behind the
Yeah,
scenes
this used
what
to
you
be
were
my
doing.
daughter's bedroom. It is. She cannot come back now. She not coming back.
That is so, but it's true. We kind of take over our home
Oh yeah.
in
Yeah.
bits and pieces, and we take, I mean, for example, she took over her daughter's room, but how much happier are you right now with
Oh
a
my
place?
gosh, it's so much easier to see what I have. Like I used to have all my florals were on one big flower tower thing and they were all stuffed in and there was ones behind other ones and like I had no idea what I had. So now I can actually see what I have and yeah, it's way
Do
much
you
easier.
see that as okay? Because different people need different things. Like, I'm a person that also needs to see everything I have
Mm-hmm.
to be able to
Yeah.
design successfully. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on, and I'm gonna be honest, I did watch your videos because I'm like, I need help with that. And I think Lauren thinks the way that I have to see what I have in order to create. Like, if I stick something in a drawer, I don't remember it's there.
Yeah. No.
I don't remember it's there.
No, like I saw once a TikTok of somebody like reorganizing their fridge and I did the same thing. So you know how you usually put like all the condiments like on the door or whatever. So I switched everything around so like all my condiments are like on one shelf and then everything else is out so that you because you condiments you're going to think about and go to them, but all the other stuff if it's in a drawer, I won't eat it. I'll forget about it.
Yep.
So like you put the condiments in the drawer or put the condiments away like so that those are the ones that you don't need to see every day, but the things that you actually need. Yeah, so I totally revamped my fridge like that too.
So somebody coming in and organizing you, yeah, it looks good for about 5 seconds, but if it's not your style, guess
Yeah,
what? It's not going to be successful.
right. Yeah.
Right. So I definitely say whenever you think, oh, I need somebody to come organize me, be honest about what your style is,
Mm-hmm.
what you need and what works for you. So
Yeah.
that's good tidbits of information. So in our conversation, you talked about your first wreath.
I should
We
have brought
all
it.
I know, but they need to hear about your first wreath.
Yeah, I
So
should have
go
brought my
ahead and
first one.
share with us share with us what your firsts were like.
So my first mesh was a mesh wreath from my like I got the mesh at Michael's. I think it was like a fall wreath. It was just like mesh, like 21-inch mesh and poofs and I think I had like one sunflower, like one floral bush just like shoved in one area of it. Like that was it. Like I was like, "Oh yeah, this is great." I don't think it had any ribbon. It was just like one floral thing and I thought I was like, the
You did
best.
it. You
Like,
yeah,
you
you're
know.
like, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Everybody look at my wreath.
Yeah.
Now, was that one that you sold or no?
No, I still have it in the garage. It's
Oh, so
like
she
I've
still
kept
has
it
it
for
for a second.
posterity on purpose. Like, because I need
That's
to look
fan-
back on
that's
that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So your friends now see. They see your wreaths and they tell you what?
Well, I think back then, like it was just becoming a trend. So it wasn't like people were making really big elaborate things. And so they saw it and they were like, oh, that's really cute. Maybe start making more and selling them or, I would totally buy that. I was like, all right. And back then there was a company that's actually no longer in business. And I bought a whole big box of supplies from them. I remember my very first, like, it was like a $200 order of supplies. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make these things. And I bought this huge box and I just had a couple bins and I started making them on the floor. And I was young, 10 years younger then. I can't get up off the floor like I can now. Could not do that now. But yeah, I was making them on the floor of my living room. Because that's the place I had to like spread out.
Yep.
And I would just play around and try things. But yeah, the first few were not good.
And you also shared where you would see like techniques, like where you learned from.
Yeah, I think primarily on Pinterest or YouTube at that point. Like there wasn't a lot of like Facebook groups back then. I think there was very, very few. There was nobody teaching back then. The mindset back then was very much, I mean, lives weren't a thing. And then, it just wasn't, it was more of a closed kind of community, and people didn't want to share who their suppliers were, and they didn't want to share their techniques, and they didn't want to share anything about any of that. So yeah, it was
Do
kind
you
of like
think that the mindset was if I teach you, then you're not going to buy from me?
yeah, I guess that was it, which is silly because if they're gonna want to make it, they're not gonna buy anyway.
They're not going
So
to buy anyway. Yeah, if they want to learn how to do it, they're
yeah,
not a customer.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna teach somebody, yeah, who's gonna be your buyer anyway. So
But that's the same thing. That hasn't changed. That part of it. If
hmm
somebody is looking to you to learn, if somebody's looking to you to get information, it's because they're also creative
right.
and they just want to learn how you're doing it, right?
hmm
So I think that I'm glad that I came on to the scene at this time as opposed to that time
hmm
because I think information should be shared.
Yeah, I don't.
I think people should show what they do and how they do it. Like
Yeah.
that's my mindset. I think that we're just better that way.
hmm
So go ahead, guys, and if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. And as they pop up, I'll go ahead and ask Lauren. But so the mindset of teaching, the whole thing about people then teaching how to do certain things and certain designs and stuff like that. When did that start rolling around?
I feel like some of the first groups were probably 2016, 2017 of when things like there were people actually starting to teach. That's I think when I and my group started in 2017, so it was somewhere around that time that people probably the year before other people were doing it, and then I decided to do it, for Etsy teaching stuff. But yeah, it did take a couple years before things started getting
Where things were a little bit more open,
yeah,
right?
and there were more
So
people in the industry in general.
so we talked about Etsy starting in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
We figured that out. I'm like, I don't know when Etsy started.
I,
Let's look it up. 2005, guys. Etsy's been around since 2005. How long have you been using Etsy?
since 2014, since when there was not even a dedicated wreath category.
Right. So there wasn't a wreath
Crazy.
category at that
That's
time.
how, like, it's not that wreaths weren't popular, but I think people making wreaths wasn't super popular. Most people bought them, I think, at that point. So, yeah, it was, that's what was interesting is that there was literally no specific category.
You
There weren't
said they
that
were
many
like
on
door
there.
hangers, right?
Yeah, it was like something, I can't remember what it was. It was like incorporated into some type of decor, home decor or something. Yeah, but there
Right.
was nothing as specific as wreaths.
All
As
right. So
wreaths.
it started in 2005. 2014, here comes Lauren saying, I'm going to use Etsy, right? Because it was about the same time, 2014. You
Yeah,
basically
I started my Facebook page and my Etsy page like the same day. I just sort of went for it. I don't know why. I don't now I would probably think about it a lot longer, probably and analyze, but back then I was like, whatever, I'll just do it.
right, because I mean, risk versus reward, right? It's not going to hurt me to try it. I just need to
Yeah,
figure it out. And
yeah.
then what you said, it was 3 years later that you decided to start teaching it.
Yeah, it did because it back then there was nobody else like teaching how to do Etsy, so it took me a while to get it going myself, to get my shop in like any kind of regular pattern of selling because I didn't know what I was doing, and so I had to do my own experimenting and trial and error and stuff like that, and so that did take time, and that's kind of what put me it drove me to want to help because I don't want everybody else to have to go through 3 years of trial and error and trying to figure things out. If I can fast track it for people so that you don't waste that much time, if your dream is to do this, more full out, you don't want to waste 3 years trying to figure it out,
Well, if you told anybody, yeah, you can do this, it's going to take you about 3 years.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about it now? Do you want to give it
Yeah.
a shot?
Like, nope.
No,
Yeah.
heck no. No way, no thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ask a few questions in the chat. Okay, so Shauna says, is your Etsy course available anytime or scheduled?
So I do it live only once a year, but it is available as like a self study for a little cheaper price because it doesn't come with any support, but all the material is there. It's all the same material. It's just not doesn't have that one-on-one or group support and community. But yeah, so it is available. If you go to my website, you can get it now. We're doing the live one actually right now, but we're like halfway through.
So make note that should you want the support, because when Lauren is teaching live, she offers support during the live teachings. So if you do want to do this and you go look at her course and you're like, that's steep, remember, she fast tracks all the information for you and you have her support. It is worth it. It is
Hmm.
worth it. Okay. Number one. Number two, make a plan for next year.
Hmm.
Squirrel away those pennies and be like, okay, I saved up for this. I'm ready.
Hmm.
So remember, it's nothing's going to happen within the next year that you're going to miss out on. Trust me
Right.
when I tell you this.
Yeah.
What she's giving you is the keys to the keys to the kingdom. All the questions you didn't even know to ask. She gives them to you,
Yeah.
okay? So, and that's just from me knowing Lauren, because I've only been part of this for a year. So this is just what I know about Lauren from just watching and being around. So let me see what other questions. Okay, so here's one. What are the benefits of Etsy versus any other platform?
Um, so I know Etsy, I love Etsy. So I think it's the best one because it's the lowest barrier to entry. So it does well up until just recently there wasn't even a cost to start it. Now I think they're implementing like a $15 charge for all new shops or something. But you don't get any monthly fees, and the fees are some of the lowest of any marketplace out there, and it has the largest audience. I know there are other ones that are starting to come up. Like there's like Go Imagine, and there's like Michael's Maker Place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're intriguing. And they're somewhat similar pricing, but the problem is they don't have the audience yet. And so, yes, it would be great, if they ever got to be as large as Etsy, like to have some competition there would be great. I think that would help Etsy get better, and that would, give us some more options and some more, but unfortunately they're not yet there yet. So right now, Etsy is still the best option as far as if you're brand new to selling and you're a handmade creator, that's the best place to go. If you're more experienced and you're really good at driving traffic and you've got a whole huge social media presence and you can drive people to your own website, well, then by all means do that. But, that's usually not what most of us start out with.
Well,
So,
it takes a big personality.
yeah.
It takes a sales
Yeah.
personality to be able to run your, like, get all the people that you want to shop from you to a website. And what
Hmm.
Etsy offers, right? What the whole purpose of Etsy is, they have customer base,
Right. Huge. Yeah.
right? It's like
Yeah.
what? How much
90 something million of shoppers.
with a
So,
credit card in hand ready to shop?
yeah.
That's the Etsy pull. So
Hmm.
both are can be very successful, but what I heard Lauren say was, if you're novice, brand new, have never sold anything online before, Etsy's a good tool.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. So somebody said in the chat That wasn't a question. Creations by Stacy. She can't figure out shipping. That's all she said. She can't figure out shipping. So and there are people that have taken your course that are singing your praises. So
Yay.
that's part of it. So thank you, Anne, with Talk Less, Craft More. Okay, so Three Crafty Angels is asking, are the Etsy ads worth it, or is it better to drive your customers from the other social media platforms?
I don't I don't think the Etsy ads are worth it. They used to be, but they changed their algorithm a little bit and it's not great anymore. I don't run and I keep one running just so that I keep up with like what's going on in the ads platforms, but I don't use it as a tool, a regular tool at all. I would rather you, yes, use your free options with social media and be trying to drive some of your own traffic in, where you don't have to spend money. So, just being regularly posting on, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, just doing that organically, totally free, not running ads on those platforms, but like just
Right.
being present and whatever. I'd rather you do that than spend your money on ads.
Well, here's the thing too. I mean, as a customer, right? As somebody who wants to buy from somebody, I would much rather know that Etsy's got my back as a customer because
Mm-hmm.
Etsy does basically make sure that you're, as a customer, safe to use that platform,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so Wendy of Stevens Designs is asking, is there a recipe for the perfect SEO?
Mm. A recipe?
For the
Not.
perfect SEO. See, and that's that well, just because I'm new, I can say what I've learned and I've learned from what you've shared. There is a formula, right? You can use a formula to be sure that you're you're coming up with the right thing for your product, but it's not an overthink thing. Like it's not you shouldn't be spending hours figuring out keywords.
Yeah. So if you go to my website, laurenkilgore.com, there is a free worksheet on the very front page. It's like it helps you brainstorm keywords. And it's probably the closest thing to a formula as you can get. It just runs through different things that you need to kind of like ask yourself about the product that can help you come up with keywords like
That's
what
a
material.
formula, lady. That's a formula.
Yeah, like what is this thing made of, or like what occasion is it for? So it kind of runs through some different questions so that you can brainstorm some thoughts. Um, and those words can be the keywords for your shop. But
Right.
I mean, SEO on Etsy is not only the listing, it's also like the whole shop framework, which is why I focus so much about like the framework of your shop and having everything put in the right places, because even that helps you in the Etsy algorithm and helps you get seen more and is even better for customers to start to know, like, and trust you better. So, if you have that stuff filled out, that will also help you, get more views. So
So
it's the
you said
listings and
something.
it's also the shop.
You said something about no trust,
Know, like, and trust.
no like and trust you better. So
Mm-hmm.
like no look, because literally when you go on Etsy, you don't know who you're shopping from. You have no
Yeah.
idea,
And that's
right?
why I really encourage people to put photos in there of themselves and put that bio in there so that you really do get to personalize your shop, because Etsy's great in that you don't have to learn how to do a website, you don't have to learn HTML. Like, they're giving you the template, like they're saying, okay, your listing goes here, your photo goes here, so it's great. So you just like fill in the blanks, but then all of everybody's shops tend to start looking the same. So the more you can personalize it and put more of yourself into it with graphics, with, more of a bio and so, more of your personality, the more you can, yes, like set yourself apart and really make people kind of get to know you as a business owner, because we're selling online. It's not like people can walk into our stores and be like, "Hey, Lauren, what's up?" And you can't chit chat. So, it's a different sort of approach, and you have to like think of it differently.
Right, and I agree with that. So here's another question, and I know this person. So Angela of A Touch More
Mm.
asked, as far as shipping, how would you suggest putting shipping into a listing? Would you offer free shipping and incorporate price, or would you let Etsy figure it out for you?
Okay, I'll try to. This can be a long answer, so I'll try to shorten
Fine, it's
it.
fine. You're
But
fine.
as far as free shipping goes, I say test it, but I'll tell you what my experience was that with selling wreaths, with the cost of shipping being so high, um, having, high price products, but then also having a really high shipping cost, it's harder to hide it. And so whereas yes, the number one reason that buyers abandon their cart is because of shipping. Like they get to the cart and all of a sudden there's this shipping charge that they did not expect, and they're like, nope, and they're outsy. That's true. However, when I included the cost of shipping in the cost of my item and did like a free shipping, my item automatically looked so much higher, and it priced me out of the market from the get-go, and people didn't even add it to the cart, and people didn't even get that far, because when they're looking at on the search results, mine looks so much higher, and it's inflated because of shipping is included, and sometimes they don't see that, or they don't know that's why. So that can be tricky. So I took that off, and I do a separate charge.
So
Um,
you do a flat rate, correct? You do a
yeah,
flat
so
rate.
I don't let Etsy calculate it, because the I don't know when they're going to fix this, but they don't have a way to calculate prices for FedEx or UPS. They only have a way to calculate prices for the post office, and with wreaths, we're not sending them through the post office. So you can't let them calculate that, because then your buyer is going to be like, why am I getting an $80 shipping charge? So you're going to
Yep.
have to do a fixed cost. Yeah.
All right, so hopefully that's a good answer and it gives a little bit of an example and reason why, right? So we're going to go back with a question to SEO. Can the SEO be used as, and in quotes, it says, how would I type in what I'm searching for?
Yeah. So that's the important thing to remember when you're writing a listing, is it, and it feels like a different language, because you have to not describe the item. We're not writing a recipe list or an ingredient list. We're not telling all the different parts of what's in this thing, because nobody knows that exists. So they're going to be searching for a certain theme, or for a certain place in their house, or for a certain occasion, or for a certain person. And that's how they're going to start their search. And so you have to think broad that way, while also, including some of the unique parts of what you're selling. But you have to be thinking of how they're going to search when they don't know yet what you have. They have no clue, and they probably don't care that you have a purple bow on it versus a pink bow. I
I
mean, they
don't.
might aesthetically, but like they're not going to go at Etsy and be like, I will only buy a wreath that has a purple bow. And you like search that way. Like they're not going to.
Well, why
So,
not? Lauren, that's how I shop.
yeah. I mean, they're far less particular than I think we think they
I
are.
think they are. They're
So
really, I mean, it really is surface level. It truly, truly is surface level.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
I think combining surface level with specific, but you have to do both, because you have to remember how they're starting their search, and then how they're narrowing it down. So you can't just include, the
random
what's in
words.
your piece, because they don't
Random
know
word.
that.
This is gorgeous. This is so cute. This is the best thing ever. Now, how much does the description play into the search?
It just started last year being part of the Etsy algorithm. It was part of Google's, but it wasn't part of Etsy's. So now it's part of it. But I've always sort of treated it. It's hard because we know, as an Etsy seller, like a lot of people don't read the descriptions.
I don't.
So, um, it's hard because you want to write it well, because the people that do read it are going to appreciate that. They're going to appreciate you giving them the care instructions, more information about it, and where they can put it and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it's a balance because yeah, I'm a numbers person. I'm not a words person, so I
Right.
hate writing the
Right.
descriptions. That's where
Fair
Chat
enough.
GPT comes into play nowadays,
Yep.
thankfully, because I
That's
am not a writer.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. So because it's Etsy and because it's a crowd and they don't know what's already been asked and this hasn't been asked, but we're going to flip flop a little bit. What are the best practices for offering multiples in a wreath listing? Like how many do you actually offer?
I suggest offering as many as you can actually make, but there's something to be said for just listing one. And then, because when you have one, sometimes Etsy has this little pop up that says, oh, this one's going fast, or this one, there's only one left, or, get this now. Um, but sometimes when you list only one, a lot of people want double doors. And so you might be missing out on people who think you don't have to. Or, rare find. Yeah, Shauna, that's right. Like they put this little blurb thing on the screen that says this is rare. This is yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you could be missing out on people who want double doors or want multiple for gifts or something like that. The other thing is I have too many listings to manage, and so I'm afraid that if I just list one and then it sells out and now it's sitting in sold out and nobody can see it, whereas I could make more, I just need to go back and like relist it. But then that requires me remembering to go back into my shop, add another one so that it appears publicly again, and in the meantime I could be missing out on sales. So I just put as many as I can make.
Okay,
So
that's fair enough. Or things that you know that you can get more product for, like
yeah,
on a
yeah,
regular basis,
yeah.
right? So Laurel of Laurel's Designs asks, how about renewing listings frequently? Is it advantageous to do that?
Not really. It used to be, but even Etsy says it doesn't really do a whole lot. It might help like boost you for a little bit, but it could only be hours. It all depends. But it's not an effective strategy. I wouldn't do it because it's going to cost you 20 cents each time. So, if you're doing a lot of that all the time, I don't think it's super effective.
All right, so it looks like I actually hit all the questions, but one of the big things that was asked over and over again is people are new to the lingo
Mm.
of what SEO is. So if you say SEO and you don't know what that is, and you also don't know what search engine optimization means,
That's a
let's
big
talk a
one.
little bit about that.
So, like, simplified, it just means how to make your thing get found, basically.
Yeah.
How to optimize it so people see it. How to
It's
make it.
it's keywords. Like when you
Mhm.
go search for something, the words that you're putting in, that's your search and like that's what you're searching. The
Mhm.
optimization part is up to us.
Yeah.
We need to optimize that so that you can find what we have that you're searching for.
Mhm.
Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah.
All right, good. I'm glad I could help with that. Now, like I said, we're going to continue our conversation, but if you have absolutely any questions, let us know. Wendy just asked, so we shouldn't relist items? I'm confused.
Relist? I mean, if you can make it, yeah. But she was talking about renewing, like as far as like as a on a regular basis, as far as to try and boost it up in the algorithm, renewing it like before that 4 months is up, it doesn't really help. Yeah. My son is spring
You're
break.
fine. No, you're fine. Absolutely. No, this is why it's real talk.
Yeah, it's real
It's
life.
really relaxed. We're
Yeah.
just having a conversation with our bunch of our friends on TikTok. It's perfectly fine. Okay, so let's go back to the conversation of the Etsy courses you offer. The Because you and I had talked about, that you are teaching currently your once a year open enrollment to this live teaching where you support and stuff. But you have several other things that you offer in various price points. Can we share a
Mhm.
little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of different things from yeah, depending on what people need as far as like if they need a course or if they need I have, group, a membership group, we have a mastermind, I have a service that does your Etsy shop for you. So, it's all on my website, but yeah, I try, and there's also just the book that in my Etsy shop. So, I try to hit every price point because I know people have different budget levels and different time commitment levels, and maybe you have more money than time, or maybe you have more time than money, and I want to make sure that everybody, whatever, wherever they're at, that I have something that I can offer to you that will help you get started, because I think that, I firmly believe that there are so many talented people out there and they deserve to be selling, and those things deserve to be out there and in the market, and so people can buy them and people can make their houses pretty. Like, I hate for them to sit in your brain, the ideas to sit in your brain or the products to sit in your house and not get out there. So
And now, hear what she's saying. She has all of these things that she has put together. She's taken the time, the effort to put all of these are several years worth of knowledge that you guys are getting from Lauren. And guess what? She keeps up to date with stuff. So this is not, hey, I'm selling in 2024 and this is 2014 information. No,
yeah.
he stays up to date with everything. So you're getting current information, you're getting real stuff. So just be aware of that when you're
Mhm.
working with Lauren or you're investing in what Lauren has to offer. It's up to date. It's not antiquated. This doesn't happen anymore. She is up to date on her Etsy stuff. Okay. So the question that was in the chat shortly after I started talking again was how many sales before Etsy starts pushing you out?
I mean, any number. There's really no magic number. There's no magic number of, products in your shop or number of sales under your belt. It all depends on what it is you're selling. And so, yeah, that's kind of, there is no magic number. Obviously, the more sales you have and the more, specifically on, one certain product or whatever, the more Etsy will see that you are, doing well, and they'll want to show your shop and your listings to more people. And the more customers will start to trust you because you have that social proof of more sales and things like that. So, yeah, unfortunately there's no magic number, but you just have to start small and just keep going.
Here's how I look at it. Okay. Etsy has the platform. Etsy has the customer base.
Mm-hmm.
You're new to Etsy. Etsy has to develop a relationship with you, the store, the shop. A
Mm-hmm.
relationship with you means that you're trustworthy. You're going to sell people what you say you're
Right.
going to sell them. It's a relationship thing. So it's a building time,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's how I see it. It's a building time. So I'm going to tell a quick story and then we'll get back to questions in the chat. My first ever introduction to Lauren, like I knew who Lauren was, but she had no clue who I was. I had posted, now I was very, very fresh, very novice, had watched several creators have sales on Etsy and everything else, fresh to the game, right? Somebody put one of my items on Etsy in their cart and it showed up. I have one person has your item in their cart. I was so super excited that somebody had my item in the cart. Lauren then, I forget if you duetted or stitched it, but made a video off of it and taught me something from that. That is how amazing this woman is. I learned from that. She's like, hey, you know what you can do? You can actually make sure that those people know that, hey, if you leave your item in the cart, I'm going to offer you an incentive to come back. That was my introduction to you, and it's been a year. Can you believe it's been a year ago that you did that? But
That's
I was
crazy.
so grateful because that told me exactly who you are. Not only are you a teacher and you share the information, but you care. Like you genuinely care. Like that was a teaching moment. You taught
Mm-hmm.
me something. I was
Mm-hmm.
thrilled. Just so you know,
Oh, good.
you made me all flustered and
Well, I was
thrilled.
afraid that you would take it as like an offense, so I was like telling you what to do, or like, I don't know. I'm always afraid
No.
when I stitch someone, you know, like I'm not trying to like be bossy, but
No, but that's the thing. I learned from that, but that told me exactly who you were. Because here's the thing, and if you know this, you know this. When a teacher's truly a teacher, they actually care that, hey, I see what you're doing, and let me show you what you can actually do with that. That
hmm
was amazing to me. So I was super grateful. No, you can do that anytime. Anytime I do something and you're like, you can do that better, Claudia, please tell me. I would love to know that. So thank you for that. But that was my introduction to her. I'm just telling you the character of this person and how I know her to be, because she has been the same, consistent. I've been watching her for a year now. She's consistent, guys. She's consistent. Okay, so a few questions in the chat. Um, how long does it take to get your cookies? We're going to call it cookies because of TikTok from Etsy. Like, when do you get paid, basically?
I think in the beginning there's like when you very first start your shop, they make you do like a little waiting period because just they want to make sure you're not like a scammer. But after that, I think it's usually like a 90-day waiting period or something where like they make you wait just a little bit longer. I don't know how many days it is. I can't, they keep changing things around, but after that, you can get your stuff next day.
Yeah.
You can,
For
I mean, I
me,
set mine to once a week, but you can do
yeah, for me,
different.
it was several weeks. When I first started. It was several
hmm
weeks, but that was fine. I mean, I was excited to have the sale, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But now it's like I get it next day. I
Yeah.
just have it
You
deposited in
can
my
do it to
account.
next day, once a month, once a week. Like you can
So you
set some.
can set that up. Yeah, you can
Mhm.
definitely set that up. Somebody asked, okay, I'm going to piggyback off this question. How do you get star seller? And I'm going to ask, is that important?
No, it's not. But the way you get it is by having they look over the last 3 months and they look at your average customer review rating. It has to be 4.8 or higher. They look at your ability to answer messages. You have to answer 95%, I think, of your messages. And you have to ship like 95% on time or something like that. So it's stuff that you should be doing anyway, obviously shipping on time, answering your messages, and striving for a good review. So it's stuff you're already kind of doing. The
Or
thing
you should be doing, just so you
Yeah,
guys know, you should be doing this
yeah.
to give good customer service.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one that trips people up is sometimes if you don't answer a message, even if it's a spam message or something, that can harm you. So just mark it as spam or whatever, so that that counts as you answering. Or you can set up an auto message on there or something. That's the only thing that usually trips people up, but and it gives this little purple badge on your shop, and like you get this little thing at the top that says you're a star seller, and they send you an email every month. And I don't mean to diminish it for people that really like love it, but because I mean it's cool to be recognized. I get that. Unfortunately, it doesn't do anything really for your shop. I don't think that buyers really know what it is, and so like when they see that, they're not like gonna buy from somebody who's a star seller over someone who's not. I don't think that's gonna be their decision making,
Right.
Um,
What
but
about
I mean, it's
reviews, though?
cool.
What about reviews? Do reviews matter?
Yeah, I mean, for star seller they matter, and for in general they matter, obviously. It's hard because you can't be afraid of you can't like bend over backwards just because you're afraid of a bad review. If people are unreasonable, you can always most of the
I
time
mean,
other people.
when people are
I know.
unreasonable.
They can you can other people will see that, like if they write a really crazy review, like the next person who comes along and reads that can probably go, okay, that was just a crazy person. um and you can
You hope.
respond
You
to it
hope.
and give your input.
Yeah.
So I don't, yes, you don't want a whole bunch of bad reviews because then your rating can go down and whatever, but at the same time, like, I don't bend over backwards for people just because I'm afraid of a bad review. I'm going to stick to the policies that I have. So
And your policies need to be clear, right? Your policies are important.
yeah, and it's one of those things that helps you in the algorithm. So Etsy wants you to have them because they don't want to get in the middle of your squabbles. So if you're clear on your policies and whatever, it's much easier for they know down the road that things are going to be resolved. This is my policy, and either you
You
decide
work.
how it's going to go. Um, it's one of those things like when you're in school and just like writing your name at the top of the paper, you got 10 points. Like that's what writing your bio and doing your policies in Etsy does. It's an automatic boost. So it's like, why would you not do it? Plus, it
So fill out
helps.
your stuff is what
Yeah.
she's
So
saying.
fill it
She's
out.
saying
Yeah.
fill out your stuff. All
Yeah.
right. Somebody asked international shipping, yay or nay?
I do it only to a few certain countries. I've sent to Singapore, Australia, Germany, UK, and definitely Canada.
Right.
Um, if you want to start out, just start out with Canada and do that, and then branch out. I don't see why not. The only tricky part is like there's some countries in the EU and like especially Germany where they have some weird regulations and
Is it customs?
customs and like stuff on packaging. Like in Germany, you have to like sign up for this whole thing because they're very particular about the the non-recyclable products that come into their country, and it's like this whole thing. So I mean, you can just stick with you can pick certain countries, you can pick just Canada, you can pick just whatever it is you're comfortable with, or the process or whatever. And you can set different prices per country too. So Australia is going to be more expensive than Canada. So yeah, I do it for a couple of countries.
Okay. So here's another question. Do customers prefer categories like holidays and stuff like that? Because this individual can't figure out like how did you do the categories?
I think like when you go to your shop, there's like this section on the left where it has like shop sections, if that's what you mean. I do suggest doing that because it is kind of like a little map. It's like a little table of contents to your shop, and it kind of just shows people like at one big glance, like, oh, here's the different types of things that this person makes. And then they can quickly get to, what it is they want. So I would suggest doing that.
Okay. So another question, what would you recommend the percentage be for something that's left in a cart? Like how to bring them back?
Oh, I usually do 10%. I'm thinking of lowering it to 5, only because Etsy has done this new thing where they used to like those coupons only went out like after a day or two, and now they're like popping up almost immediately. And I'm like, well, hey, that's not what I you know what I mean? I don't want it to pop up immediately. It's supposed to be meant as an incentive if you forgot about it to come back. So I'm seeing the coupons used a lot more than I had planned on. So I might lower it to 5%, but it's
But
whatever
see,
you're
that's part of
comfortable
the
with.
change. That's part of the things that are changing, the things that you're
Hmm.
noticing, right? What
Yeah.
do you think about giving a coupon for somebody as a return customer? Like when you package the item, you give them a coupon code so they come back.
Yeah, I have one like on my little card that I stick in the box. But you can also set up one with Etsy that goes out automatically. I don't know. I go back and forth on whether I like them or not because it's like, you don't give them a coupon at first, but like when they come to buy, then as soon as they purchase, you give them a coupon immediately. Like, I don't know. Some people are like, it was so easy for you to give me that coupon, why didn't you give it to me at the first time? I
Well,
don't know.
it's all people's shopping habits too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So here's a question piggybacking off of that one. I'm still asking questions, and I'm thrilled that people are asking questions. Keep asking questions. Sales, offering a shop sale. Do you recommend people do that like for end of holidays or anything like that for inventory purposes?
You can try it, but I don't think it works.
Yeah, it hasn't worked for me. I can vouch for that. I asked you. I'm like, sales. She's like, yeah, it doesn't work really. And not
It's
only that, do you find people won't shop because they know you'll have a sale?
Well, I mean, if you have too many, yes, you could be training your customers that you're about to have a sale. But and I've done it maybe like once a year for Black Friday or whatever. And honestly, like I'll put usually if it's Black Friday, I won't put like my Christmas and fall on sale. I'll just put like other earlier in the year seasons on sale. But I find that people don't buy them. They buy the full price stuff. So
Right. I don't understand that either, right? I don't get it because we know as purchasers of the items to make the stuff, we want the sale. Like we want to buy that stuff on
but
sale.
when it comes to our target market
Yeah. Yeah.
buying something like we sell in that price range, they aren't looking for sales.
Isn't that crazy?
And they're
So
looking
listen,
for,
guys,
yeah,
listen,
they're looking
listen.
for higher priced
They
items
want the unique. They want the unique, and
and they
they want
expect to
that.
pay more and they
Yep.
don't, they feel like if there's a sale that there's something wrong with it and that's not
Right.
as
Why are
well.
you trying to get rid of this? All
Yeah.
right. So back to the questions in the chat. You only have so many angles of a wreath that you can take a picture. Do you have any suggestions on how to take pictures?
When I first started Etsy, we only got 5 photo slots. Now you get 10. So I'm used to only taking 5, but a full picture so that we have the full wreath to all the pieces. Like, don't cut anything of it off. Make sure there's some little space around it. Then I usually do a left and a right. Then I'll do like a zoomed in one. And then, I will just do a couple of like, okay, here's the bow. Here's a really pretty flower. Here's a really cool ribbon. Or here's a really cool little bird I stuck on it. So you can do, I would say you don't need to get to 10, but at least 5, 4 to 5
And
would be good.
definitely a video.
Yeah. And that's going to count as
Definitely.
one of your slots anyway. So
Right.
now, yeah.
Definitely a video. All right. So how does shipping work on Etsy? Somebody just sorry, they go, sorry if I missed the answer, but how does shipping work? And that's a question that literally, I promise you, that question right there almost kept me from opening an Etsy store because I had so many shipping questions.
Which is why I created like an entire shipping course. Like it's just on shipping. So it's like not on anything else. If you just need to help on shipping, like you can get that shipping course. Um, but yeah, and it's on my website. It's also on Etsy. I think it's under $20 or something. But um, the thing to remember about shipping on Etsy is that what the customer pays you and what you pay out have zero to do with one another. So you could charge the customer one thing, it's not connected to what you pay out, but you'll see when you get on the platform, you can ship it straight through Etsy. Etsy has shipping rates on there. You can do it all from their website. And thankfully now they have UPS on there. So it's UPS, FedEx, and Post Office. So you have those all 3 carriers so you can price them out and see which one's better for you.
And you really have to decide what works for you as well. Honestly, it really
Mm-hmm.
is a I think shipping is really a personal preference. It really is. I
Yeah.
have found that shipping, like when people ask you like random questions, like what's the size of the box you use and what's this and what's that? And I'm like, there are so many trial and error things and you have to figure it out for yourself. You really
Mm-hmm.
do have to go through it. Um, and that's just been my experience. But Lauren does, you heard it here. She has a whole course that you can go get on just shipping to get your questions answered. Somebody asked how you set pricing for your items.
Mm. Um, I don't do like a straight 2 times or 3 times formula because I find that doesn't always, I don't think that always takes everything into account. And it's tricky because, if you're accounting, you want to take into account labor and you want to take into account the cost of the item and you want to take into account leaving some room for profit and so that you can, actually make this a business. And when you're first starting out, obviously it's going to take you a little bit longer. So your labor costs are going to be higher and you might not be buying as like as smart as you could. You may not be buying wholesale, or you might be only pay, you might be paying really high retail prices. And so, I think if you did a straight 2 times or 3 times based on some of that, your numbers would be way off and it wouldn't work. Um, so you do have to kind of build it. Yeah, you have to think of all the things, the overhead a little bit. You got to make room for a little bit of profit. You got to make room for the fees that Etsy might, is going to charge you. You just sort of have to like math it all out. And Etsy has the calculator now, and there's lots of other ones online
And I
to
found
help
that the
you.
calculator is actually very beneficial to know what the fees are going to be up front.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
actually appreciate that a lot because it was
Yeah.
always a crapshoot. Like I didn't know what it would be, and I was never disappointed. Like I have not yet been disappointed. Like I've always been very happy with what I've made, and
Uh-huh.
I'm also realistic, Lauren. I mean, is it right for me to think I'm 1 year in? I'm not going to be making what somebody 3 years into business is going to
Yeah.
be making, right? So
Yeah.
I'm also very realistic in that aspect. And I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I bumped up my prices like as my talent got better and as I got to be more well known, I felt like it was more deserving of, higher prices. So, yeah, whereas some of my wreaths started at $60 and now they're $90. But they're still selling and they've sold hundreds, but yeah, they did not look like they did, you know,
Right.
when they were $60.
And it's
So,
all relative, right? It's all relative. I mean, you may be making showstopper wreaths and not be selling because you're a brand new Etsy seller. So
mhm,
you kind of have to do the take a step back, build your business
mhm.
to that showstopper sale price, sale point. That's just how I feel. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
I mean it's tricky though because you don't want to underprice, and I think as creatives we often think our items aren't as deserving or aren't worth as much as they really
Right.
are. So I don't want you to underprice your stuff because of
That's
that,
true.
because
That's
they
true.
are worthy.
Right.
Definitely be working in a realistic price. Gonna need to
Right.
get your money back.
Well, what I was saying is maybe not do the showstoppers yet. Maybe
Mhm.
work up to the showstopper
Mhm.
caliber. Don't
Right.
start out the gate making showstoppers because yes, they are worth it. But if you haven't built your
It's
business
hard for people to jump out and buy that, yeah, without a whole lot of history.
without
Yeah.
history, you need that history. So what about returns?
I don't take any returns unless, yeah, I mean, the only case would be if something was damaged, and in that case, we'll file a claim, but I'm not going to take it back. We're just going to, file the claim and do a refund, but I don't
So
do
hopefully
returns.
that answered the question about returns. 'Cause I'm like, it's not a good idea. You don't know where it's going and what environment it's sat in before it comes
Yeah.
back to you. So there's that. Somebody asked about regulations on shipping grapevines, like to Canada or other countries. Are there regulations?
I think Kayla and I looked into it because there was something about like the plant material. I need to look at into it again because I remember we looked at that and we were kind of worried about, yeah, there was something about restrictions on the plant material. And I don't know if grapevines counted since they're no longer alive. You know what I mean? They're no longer like
Right.
part of an
They're
actual
not actual, they're not
wood.
actually, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I
But I
don't I
have
have to look
heard
into
there are
that.
bugs in them.
I
I
don't
haven't
know.
found any with, but if
I
I
don't
have, let
know.
me tell you something right here, right now to all my grapevine makers. If Claudia finds bugs climbing out,
Oh
you
no.
cannot make me touch a grapevine again, just letting you know. I'm done.
We'll be
I'm,
out. I'm
I'm done,
out.
just so
I'm
you know.
out.
So, a question: how long does it take for an incentive coupon to be generated and sent? I think Lauren answered that by saying it used to not be immediate, and now it's becoming immediate, and
Hmm.
it's not good for the business owner, I think,
Hmm.
right? Right. All right, let's
Yeah,
see.
they were meant to be like 24 to 48 hours, and now I tested it myself the other day buying something, and I within hours I got a
You're like,
coupon.
oh, all right. So somebody asked when pricing, if you get your supplies on sale, do you price the item as you got the supplies full cost? So do you charge, like, would you price the multiplication or whatever based on the what the non-sale price was?
Normally, I'm gonna do the non-sale price, except in the case of like a Hobby Lobby where it's like they're always every other week on sale. But like if I'm not usually going to use the clearance prices or like the the after season deep discount prices because as a business owner, that's where part of your profit comes in is
Right.
planning ahead like that and buying smart. And so if you pass all of those discounts onto your customers, that's going to be really hard for you to, and that's the reason you buy wholesale is so that you can build more profit in because you're buying your products at less cost. So it's not to pass all those savings on. I mean, I'm not saying I'm like gonna screw people, but like you're not
Literally,
gonna
she's not.
yeah, you're not gonna pass all those savings on. I mean, strike a little balance, I think, and do what's
Right.
right, what you think is right. But normally, I do not.
Right.
Um,
So somebody else asked for your classes, do you review the students' Etsy shops and give tips on improvement or changes?
yeah, we do. In all the courses I have and in my membership. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that people are looking for is like somebody like a fresh set of eyes to look at what they have. I mean, I even have a Etsy review service in my shop and because I will review people's, shops and I've reviewed hundreds and hundreds. And so I kind of have I have a system of like what I will look at and, what I will suggest and I'll go and help them and suggest, in each different category. Okay, this is what I think about your pictures. This is what, think about your keywords, things like that.
You have to be a big adult person and not get hurt feelings when you hire somebody to come in and say, okay, tear it apart. I need you to
Mm-hmm.
tear this apart because that's what you need to think of. I
Right.
need you to come give it to me raw, give it to me real.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me my pictures are awful. Tell me what I need to look for, what I need to look at. You need that. And she offers that service, guys. You don't have to join anything or be a part of anything or take a course. Offers that service as a separate service.
Mm-hmm.
LaurenKilgore.com. Lauren Kilgore, just like it's spelled right there under her face, right there. LaurenKilgore.com. Guys, do not sleep on this. Invest in your business. You will not be sorry, okay? All right, let's see. What do you buy to print shipping labels?
When you first start, you don't need to buy anything special. If you have a regular printer and you just want to use regular paper, that's fine. And then you're just going to tape it on the box. Once you have a little bit of profit and you got a little bit of extra money, buy a label printer. It does make it easier. It's faster. You don't have to buy ink because they're thermal. So all you buy is like the rolls of the 4x6 sticky labels that go in there and then and then you just slap it on the box. You don't need extra tape, you don't need ink. So going
That's
forward
a
it's a lot
thermal. That
cheaper.
would be a thermal printer,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
thermal. Obviously it's an upfront cost, but like going forward you're going to have less costs. But if you can't do that at first, just print it out on a regular printer and tape it to the box. It's okay.
So in the chat, there's a very specific question. And honestly, I don't know how to do this either. So your answer will actually benefit at least two of us in the room.
Okay.
Okay. She says, I can't figure out for the life of me. How do I complete an order if I don't ship it? It's a local purchase.
Okay. um there is you can't do it on the app. No, you can't do it on the app. But on Etsy.com website, browser, whatever, just get to the website. And I believe it's the check mark with a circle around it. And you will click that and you will hit complete order. And then it'll go to another screen and it'll say, how did you ship this? And so if like that would be like if maybe, I don't know, maybe you went to the counter at the post office and you just paid for the shipping there, or if you're having a local order, like, so if you did that, you could put in, okay, the tracking number and info. But if it's a local order, you can click where it says like this order does not have tracking, and you'll just click as your shipper other. And
Right.
then you can if it asks for a tracking number, you don't have one, this is what can affect your star seller, in which they need to fix in the whole star seller program, because if you don't have a tracking number, then that can be a ding against your star seller. But I have seen some people put in like the date that they mailed it as the tracking number, and to try and like fool the system by just putting some numbers in there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. um you might just let your customer know they're going to get an email that says your item has been shipped when you do that. So they might be a little confused. So you might just want to let them know.
So
But
what I've done when I couldn't figure it out is I mailed them a thank you card. I
oh
got a
yeah, I've seen people
63
do that.
cents,
Yeah.
63 cent or whatever stamp,
Uh-huh.
and I mailed them a thank you card,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they're like, "Why did you mail me a thank you card?" I said, "No worries. I got credit. I
Just a
got
thank
credit
you.
for that item."
Yeah.
Even though I just handed it to you, I got
Yeah.
credit for shipping that item. So that's that. It's true though. It's true. Shipping could have kept me from opening my Etsy store because
Mm-hmm.
that was the one biggest thing that deterred me.
Well, someone said, or discontinue the item and work the local seller in Messenger. I wouldn't do that, because you're still going to need, if they, well, if they contacted you on Etsy, you're going to need to sell it through Etsy, or else, Etsy can, they can get mad at you because you're avoiding fees by selling it another way.
Right.
So if they've contacted you on Etsy and they want to buy it that way, you're just going to have to go through it that way. If they contacted you another way, like through Facebook or whatever, by all means, just delete it off your Etsy and, sell it to them locally or whatever. But the other advantage of having them buy it through Etsy is you get another sale number and you might get another review. So that helps that social proof and helps things kind of move along. So I don't think it's, yes, you'll pay fees, but
Right. And then there's the option of because Etsy has this on there is Square for local sales, like you
right.
attach the Square, like if you're going to have a craft show. Now
Mm-hmm.
those sales do count as
Mm-hmm.
an Etsy sale if you're doing it that way because
Mm-hmm.
you're actually taking it from Etsy and you're not paying Etsy fees at that time. You are paying a processing fee for Square
Mm-hmm.
and the listing fee for Etsy, but you don't get reviews.
Right, because they aren't technically buying it on Etsy,
Right.
so they won't be able to leave a review, but you do get a sale. It bumps up your sale number.
It does bump your sale number. So there is that. All right, let's debunk some myths. Are we ready to debunk some
Mhm.
myths? All right. Lauren, it's so saturated. Everybody's selling wreaths. How can I compete?
And okay, so yes, there's a lot of people on Etsy selling, or a lot of people everywhere selling. But the truth of the matter is, the majority of people on Etsy as a whole, and not just in the wreaths category, but the majority of people on Etsy do not work their business and do not pay attention to how it works, do not have any clue. They just opened a store and listed the thing and just figured it would sell just purely because it's online. So it's very easy to, bust through that competition, if honestly, by just learning how it works and just paying attention to it and working your business, because there are very, very few that actually put in the dedication and the work to do that. So it might seem like there's a lot of people on there, but as far as successful ones, there aren't, because they just don't put in the time. So
So I'm laughing because I don't know if you've watched Real Talk before, but one of our Real Talk people, Mary, talked about tickling the algorithm.
I like
So
that.
how does that work? Tickling the algorithm, which we've learned you need to touch Etsy every day.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of just so that they know that you're active and you're there, and yeah, whether you're updating things or you're shipping something out or you're adding something new. I think just being consistent with it is gonna help a lot.
Right. And not only that, but look at what other people are doing. Look at the
Mm-hmm.
successful shops. That's what I say. I'm like, it's not going to hurt you to go look at somebody who's making it happen,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right? Figure
Yeah.
it out. See what they're doing that you're not. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's part of it, right? And if you don't have that kind of time, well, guess what? Let me introduce you to Lauren Kilgore. as she said, either you have the time or you have the money. You
Hmm.
don't have, typically, you don't have both,
Right,
honestly.
yeah.
Typically, you don't have
It's
both.
all gonna cost one or the other, unfortunately. So whichever one you got more of, you know.
Right. So what do you think, and because I shared a little bit about the Discord group that I have,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think about like-minded business people that are all trying to do the same thing, brainstorming together?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. I mean, because that's how we learn and that's how we get better. And yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. And that's why I created the community that I have. And, yeah, if ever other people create the same sorts of communities, I mean, we can't all help every single person. So the
That's
more of us,
impossible.
the more of
It's
us there are out there to help, the better. Yeah, it's
right.
great.
So get with somebody that's doing what you're doing, even if you don't live in the same location,
Mm-hmm.
and share your information with each other. That's basically what I say. I'm like, how many people knew that Lauren existed? How many people knew that she's been doing this a long time and can truly help you?
Mm-hmm.
How many people know that? Share who you learn from. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody's a good teacher, you learn from them, you got a lot of information, pass that along. Let other people
Yeah.
know, hey, this
And there's
really
lots
helped
of people out there, and everybody has a different personality, a different teaching type. There are people that I learn better from as far as like teaching how to make a wreath than others. And so find the person that, resonates with you, that can learn from and that you get along with and that you understand when they tell you how to do things. Like I think like Ashley, when Ashley makes a bow, Ashley Three Little
Oh, we
Greenwood,
all know Ashley. Yeah.
she was like the first person that has like slowed it down and made it like, and I'm not a big bow person, so when watching her, like, she can really teach me how to make a bow. Like other people, I just didn't get it, but like for some reason the words that she used, like I got it. So
I
yeah.
was soothed. I was soothed into bow making by
Mm-hmm.
Ashley. No, I tell everybody, guys, Ashley, three little green birds. If you don't, Greenwood. What did I say? I
Greenwoods.
said it wrong. Not three little green birds. Three little green woods. Correct me, guys. Come on, help a girl out. Does it appease customers to see 24.99 versus 25 on Etsy or no?
Maybe experiment with your own products. I don't know. I mean, I think historically, if you look at pricing, like ones that end in sevens or end in 99s can be like incentives. I just like a clean
Yeah.
number without cents. It's I like I said, like on Etsy, I don't think like people are looking for the deals. So they're not necessarily looking for like the 99, 24.99. But test it, play around with it, make two listings, and with make one 24.99, make one 25, and see what happens.
That doesn't confuse customers at all either.
Yeah. So I mean, just to
Experiment.
test and just to see, just play around with it in your own shop with your own products, and different. We got different, slightly different markets. We got slightly different products. So
So I had asked you and kind of put you on the spot, and I don't know if you thought about it, but I asked her, you guys are going to laugh at me. So what's the success rate of people having an Etsy store when they take your course?
oh yeah.
And she kind of, I didn't see her face at the time, but I was like, I could just picture her going, seriously, lady? I don't know. I just know that they haven't come back and said they weren't successful.
And like it goes back to like there are very few that follow through, and it's hard because I feel like I'm giving all the tools I can. I am there for all the support that I can. I will do a Q&A. I will be there, to ask any questions you need to, and I give all the material that I can possibly think of. But if you don't follow through and you don't pay attention to it and you don't work it and you don't ask any questions or try, then it's hard. I mean, I've had people go on and be very, very successful, and I've had some people close up shop. So it all is also in the personality of the person, and how hard they want to work, and do they really want to make this work, and do they have the time to implement and to do it, and Yeah, it's what you make of it, you know. We can give you all the tools possible, but you have to take it from there. I can't
And
run it
here's the other
all.
saying, right? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Right.
So there, and there's no shame in trying it. If it's not for you, you
Hmm.
don't do it,
Yeah,
right?
if you don't like the way it has to work, then yeah. But it does take work.
It does. And here was my thing, and this was my frustration, just so that you can hear it from the beginning. I didn't know what to ask, Lauren. Like, I
Hmm.
didn't know where to look. I didn't know what to ask. Because if you don't have the right question,
Hmm.
then you can be spinning your wheels and it's discouraging.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
So I was grateful for those that were willing, like literally willing to answer a question or two, or hey, point me in the right direction. I'm a researcher. I will look
Hmm.
it up. I just
Hmm.
need somebody to point.
Just yeah, a general area.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just need somebody to say, okay, go look over here. And
Hmm.
by the way, her handmade seller's guidebook for me was gold. Just
Good.
saying. It was because, like I said, all you had to do is point me in the
Hmm.
right direction, and I can go look it up for myself.
Hmm.
And I like that. I like doing the because I actually feel when I'm actually doing the research myself that I'm figuring it out and learning in the process. So
Yeah.
that's just how I work, and it's what works for me. But it's not for everybody,
Yeah.
guys. You can hire her to set up your entire Etsy for you. She'll even get a
Crazy.
couple of listings up for you,
Yeah.
but then you're on your own.
I know, because I would have so many people like, just can you just do it for me? Can you just do it for me? I'm like, okay. And so I finally figured a way to do that. Um, but yeah, I again, it's like you have time or money. What do you, how fast do you want to get it set up? Do you want to, but we can
Well,
do it all kinds of
but the
different
thing
ways.
is, here's another thing, and here's something you could share. The speed of how fast you set up your Etsy does not equal success.
No, no, no,
That's not how it works.
no.
So with wreaths, because there are several people have YouTube videos out there telling you how to do Etsy, right?
Hmm.
And some of the information is good information, some of the information is not helpful. So what would you say to somebody saying, I need to post, so I have 20 wreaths, I need to get them all up and listed right now this second on Etsy? Is that a good way to do it?
Well, going back to like what we were talking about, like being active daily in Etsy, I would say like ideally, if you're kind of gradually adding some in there every day, for a longer period of time, that would be more, advantageous. However, if you have a lot of time on one day and you know that if you don't do it now, you're not going to do it, well, then by all means do it now.
Gotcha.
Just get
Okay.
it up
Okay.
there. Like,
But
just do it.
am I right in thinking posting 1 to 2 a day actually helps you build it?
Yeah, I think that would be the better way, ideally, to do it. And plus, and it's not as much overwhelming for you. You kind of like do a couple, see how it works, learn how you're, what's happening. Is it working? Are people finding it? And then, do it slowly. But like I said, if you got to do it all in one day and you just have time and you got to do it, then just do it. Yeah.
Let's do it, right? Somebody asked how much you charge to set up an Etsy page for someone.
It's not cheap. It is
No.
$1,000. It's 997.
Yep.
Um,
Because
but
it's time, guys.
yeah, it's several hours of,
And
Zoom
it's logging
meetings and
into your computer. It's
mm-hmm.
logging into your computer. So she'll set you up, but it has to be on your stuff.
Yeah, because that's the key with Etsy is you can't use other people's logins. So we have to meet over Zoom. I remote control into your computer, and then we click around and we add the stuff. Behind the scenes, I can help you. I can make the graphics up for you. I can make your banner. I can help do your keyword research and do all that stuff. But when it comes to actually sticking it in your shop, we have to meet and do that. So,
And
I
it
mean,
has
I've
to,
had some clients where it was 9 hours of work, and That's a lot.
That
So,
is that is a lot. I find adding listings time consuming and neglect my shop as a result. I know
oh,
about the copy feature. What
yeah,
other
copy
tips?
as many as you can because I that's what I do, and then, um, they only take me a couple minutes, because I have other ones that are similar, and I copy it over. Use Chat GPT for descriptions. Copy over other ones with similar keywords so you don't have to think of all new keywords every single time. Those are the most time consuming things.
Yeah, and a lot of it is getting familiar with what is actually needed, because
Mm-hmm.
that can be overwhelming too. Like, what do you actually need in your description, in your
Mm-hmm.
policies, in all your things? But that copy feature really is super beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
Super, super beneficial. And don't neglect your shops.
Yeah.
You got to tickle it. You got to tickle it every day. Even, okay, so talk to me about announcements. Talk to me about Etsy announcements.
That's so funny because I just did a class on that yesterday with my membership group, and
Oh,
we went all through how to create a good shop announcement on Etsy. Um, I think the biggest tip is like don't don't treat it like a greeting. It's an
okay.
announcement. It's an update section. It's like, here's what's new. It's your bulletin board. It's like, here's what's new and cool, and here's what's happening. Here's what I've just, and you're going to update it regularly and change it out. Because it has a date there. It says last updated.
So
So
what's regularly? Like, how often would you recommend somebody go ahead?
I guess it depends on when you get something new to say, or if you've got a new product line, or if you've got something new, to share, a couple
So
times a year.
is weekly too much? Is monthly perfect? Is every couple of
I mean,
months
I don't think you would
ideal?
have that much weekly to update
We're not,
on.
well, I could be Hobby
Yeah.
Lobby. I could be that. I could do that weekly, weekly updates. Come
I
on.
mean, it depends on your traffic. If you have a ton of traffic, I mean, but I just feel like weekly, like there aren't going to be many
Yeah.
people that see it that often. So,
Got it. Got it. Sometimes, honestly, and I'm going to be completely, because I'm a jokester. Sometimes I wonder if I stuck something funny in the announcement, like people would just come back to see the announcement because it's
yeah,
funny.
maybe they
I've
would.
actually thought about that.
Yeah.
I thought about that. I'm like, what if I was just funny in my
Yeah.
announcement and that created a buzz because
Mm-hmm.
Etsy is its own algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is. Etsy is its own algorithm. All right. So, question in the chat. Can you talk briefly about linking your Etsy shop to Shopify?
Oh, you'd have to go on Shopify. You'd have to get an app that links your inventory. I haven't done that. And I don't remember what the one is I've heard people suggest to use, but I would say look at the reviews. Because there's a couple different ones, and some of them don't have good reviews as far as like the inventory doesn't sync well or that it doesn't track. I don't know. I haven't done it, but yeah, you're gonna just need a Shopify app, which means paying more to Shopify.
So, and I know Michelle. She's Creek Road Designs.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have a Shopify. So I think they're trying to link it so
Mm-hmm.
that they're not
Yeah,
having to both
definitely you
places.
want, yeah, you're having your inventory synced is going to be bad. And I need to do that too because I just neglect my Shopify, but I need to do that too because yeah, it makes it easier if one sells in one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think there's any perfect
Somebody,
app, but yeah.
yeah, somebody asked in the chat about maybe they misunderstood. They're on your page and they don't see where the self-guided course to the live course is.
Under courses, the 101. If you
So
go to like
101.
laurenkilgore.com and then you look under courses, it's the 101 course.
Somebody said migrating inventory is a nightmare from one platform to another.
I've done it so many times. It's just yeah, I do not like it.
Okay,
Um, it
go
says
ahead.
waitlist, but I think at the very, very top it says enroll in self-study version. Or if you go down, it says like there's the waitlist, but then there's also self-study version. Like there's both on the same page. Should be.
Yeah, so they're both so that you should be able to see both. If not, can they message you somewhere
Yeah,
and
yeah,
say, okay.
yeah.
All right. So here we're gonna dive into a little bit more of a how do we handle this if it happens type conversation. So
Okay.
we talked a little bit about it when you and I talked, but the idea of being copied when
Mm,
you are a live creator and somebody basically copies your design. How do we manage? How should we think about it? What should we do instead of getting, because I mean, obviously when you first see that, it's kind of a step back. You're like, why would anybody want to copy me? Why can't they make
hmm.
their own thing?
Right.
But you and I had a really good conversation about, so what? So go
Yeah.
ahead and share about that.
Well, I don't think one as a rule it's a great idea for people to do because yes, we all have our own way of doing things and our own, your design is like your own handwriting, so we're all going to do things. So even if I tried to copy somebody else and I have like in groups where they show you tutorials and you can kind of do the same thing. Mine never looks like the same thing. So, we all have our own way of doing things. We all have our own target market. We all have our own different buyers. So I don't think it ever really works well to copy somebody else's. But if I have my two most popular wreaths are tutorials in my Etsy shop. So um I don't worry that people are copying. The only thing, because I have no patent to the design. I have no, it's a wreath, so you can't copyright and patent that. Um, so if somebody makes it, okay, whatever. It doesn't really bother me. And it's never really been an issue. The only thing that you can't do is steal someone else's pictures. Like you can't take their actual picture and be like, I can make this, and here I'm selling. You
Right.
can't do that. But if you make your own, and I've even told people like, take my picture down. You make your own thing. That's fine. Sell your own thing that looks like mine, or whatever. But you can't take my photo and try and sell it. So,
Yeah, you can't say,
that's the only
"Hey,
thing.
I can make something like this."
Yeah. If you want to, then make something like that and then sell it,
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing that I shared with Lauren was, okay, so she's got a best-selling beach wreath. Like she's shown it. She's gone live and made it, and she's just like, it's crazy to me how long this has been a top seller in my shop, and I still make them and I still sell them. And
Mm-hmm.
she even sells, listen to this. This is what cracks me up. She even sells the stuff to put in that wreath if you want to buy it. So she's like,
Yeah.
"No, go ahead, make it. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
People keep buying it from me, so go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
make it. Here's the stuff." I'm
Yeah.
like, "What?"
Yeah.
That is freaking amazing to me. But that is a good mindset. If
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good healthy way to think about it. But you're right. Don't take somebody's picture, put
Mm-hmm.
it up as if you made it and say, "Yeah, I can make this.
Right. Yeah.
You like
That's a
this,
no.
I can make this."
Yeah.
It's different if a customer comes to you because that has happened where a customer says, "Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
like this. I want you to make it for me. Can you make this for me?"
Mm-hmm.
That's different, right?
Yeah, I've had people do that. Now, normally, if I can tell where it came from, I will say, okay, go buy it from so and so because I know who made it. They have it in their shop right now. Just go buy that one. Um, Normally, but if I can't tell where it comes from, or if they're like very, very adamant that I make something different, then that's different. But I will try to send them back to the original creator if at all possible, so that, because they're the ones who created that. I want them to get the sale.
And that's
Um,
how I feel too. Like literally, like when somebody comes to me and says, "I want blank blank wreath." I already know somebody who's making it. I'm like, "Do
right.
you know how much it would take for me to try to figure out how to
Right.
do that when here, is this what you're looking for? Buy it from them,
Yeah.
please." Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to have to figure that out. I'm
Yeah.
like, thanks for thinking of me, but it would really benefit my friend, especially
Hmm.
especially if you like you said, our wreaths are like our handwriting. It's signature, right? we know, we can often tell by looking at somebody's wreath who made that,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
whether it be by their bow,
Mm-hmm.
by the attachments. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about attachments though. Some of these attachments are gorgeous,
Yes.
but we can tell.
Yeah.
We can tell where it came
Mm-hmm.
from.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned something about there is a respectful way of being inspired by somebody. Can you share about that?
Oh, well, I mean, I think, you're going to take this, maybe you could take the same theme or you can take the same idea. But yeah, even when you're going to always want to put your own spin on it anyway. Because like I said, you have your own customers that like your style, and that's why they like buying from you versus somebody else because you have a totally different way of placing the thing in there, of tying a bow, of whatever. So it's always going to want to make it unique to you so that you become known for your own style, and you're not your all your products aren't, yeah, just copying everybody else's. You want to have your own your own footing out there, your own business of the way that you do things, so that people get to know that and come to you for that.
Right. I mean, I cannot wait for the day that somebody looks at a wreath and says, "Hey, that's Claudia's door decor."
Hmm.
I cannot wait for that day. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm looking like this because I'm like, that day's coming. I
Yeah.
promise you. There will come a day where somebody looks at a wreath and says, "That's Claudia's door decor," and I'm looking
Right.
forward to
Yeah.
that. So Grace says in the chat, speaking of signatures, do you suggest adding your brand to your items?
Does she mean like a watermark or?
I don't know if she means by pictures or to your actual wreath. Like, how would you brand a wreath?
I mean, I know you can add, like, I have like little hang tags that I'll put. I can, when I remember, I put on the backs of my wreaths.
That's
um,
honest. You heard it here. That's honest right there. When I
yeah.
remember, I can put it on
But
there.
as far as like watermark, oh no, like a logo or tagger thing. Yeah, okay. So as a tag, like I got like little hang tags like from Etsy. I've had somebody made them with my logo, and they just have like a little zippy tie thing, and you could put them
Oh,
just so
she was
people
talking about a
remember.
physical item, something you would physically put on your wreath, but watermark too.
Okay. But as far as watermarks, no, I don't do that anymore because I feel like it takes too much time, and they're going to get photoshopped out or cropped out anyway. And it just kind of makes your picture look a little messy when it has words all over it. So I don't mess with it.
Yeah, and as far as like what you want to do, honest, I promise you, if you start to design in a signature fashion
Mm-hmm.
where you're making similar, like could be different theme, but similar items, that becomes your signature
Right.
style. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we're referring to more so than anything because you can, I mean, names just really Rolodexed in my head when I think about signatures. Like I
Mm-hmm.
literally can now go through and tell who designed what. And I'm
Yeah.
so proud of myself. I watch too much stuff on on
And you
these
start
platforms,
recognizing doors, and you start recognizing, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there's that. As far as because you even mentioned that you're looking for the next design step for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Lauren's looking to learn more design. She's wanting to expand the design side of her business. So when you're doing this, what would you suggest for people that are doing the same thing that they do to expand their design learning?
I like to I'm going back to like trying to find somebody who you can learn from, whether it's just whether it's watching free lives or becoming members of somebody's group, that you really like their style and their teaching style and the style of race that they make, that. But I mean, you can learn a lot from just free lives. But yeah, just I feel like I'm like a serial learner. And so like I always want to soak up as much information as I can. And sometimes that can stop me from actually doing the thing, and I procrastinate by just wanting to learn more. Sometimes you have to just get in the darn craft room and make the thing and just try,
That's the
and
truth.
just try, just experiment, just
Yeah.
maybe whether it's buying, cheaper flowers at Walmart to just play around with, or um, you know, using some cheap mesh, but then you're gonna have a quality issue. But you know what I mean? It's just experimenting and trying and seeing what you can do. And your first ones are maybe not going to be the greatest, but you're going to just keep trying and keep perfecting them. Um, yeah, I mean, I think I like to watch a whole bunch, and I'm like, okay, one day I'll make them. But I've lately started to actually just try and actually just make the things. Like I need to just do the things.
Right. And for me, when I know somebody does similar things over and over again, I prepare the stuff that I need
Mm-hmm.
while I'm watching, and then I can base my question to them off of the struggle I find that
Uh-huh.
like I didn't exactly see how you did that.
Uh-huh.
So that helps
That's
me.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's how I learned to bow with Ashley is I
Mm.
had I had ribbon and my bow maker in front of me and
That's cool.
follow because she makes
Uh-huh.
like what like 3 or 4 bows during
Yeah.
her Monday morning I would that's how I learned. I'm like it wasn't until Ashley that I actually didn't sound like a sailor when making a bow.
I am not a bow person. Yeah. It's hard for me too.
All right, so in the chat, Michelle from Creek Road Designs asked how you got into wreath making.
Um, so okay, back in 2014, I was a single mom back then. And it was just me and my daughter, and she was 10, and she would go to bed at night, 9 o'clock or something. And then I would like have the whole evening. I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? Like I'm by myself. Um, and at first I went and got a master's degree. I don't know, to fill up
That's
my
something
time.
people do when they're
I don't
single
know.
and
I
have
just like
nothing to do at
I'd go
night.
to school or something. And then when that was done, I was like, okay, now what am I gonna do? So then that's when I like was like, all right, I'm gonna start some like crafting things. And that's when I just decided I would, so I made a wreath. And then people were like, oh, you should make these to sell. And I was like, well, that could be a little hobby, a little side money, a little extra money, and fill up my time, whatever. I was like, sure. So that's how it started, and then it snowballed from there. And
Yeah,
then it took up my
so
whole
so
garage and my.
she didn't go full time until 3 years ago, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she was doing this as a side hustle for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So for all of those that can't figure out how to make this a full-time thing, don't be discouraged. Just continue doing you until you're ready. You'll know when you're
Yeah.
ready. You'll know
Mm-hmm.
when it's time.
Yeah.
But it does take commitment to put the time and the work and the effort into making a full-time. I mean, people make a living. People make a
Mm-hmm.
really good living doing this. And don't limit yourself. I say expand, right, Lauren? I mean, when
Mm-hmm.
you say don't just think about just making wreaths, don't think about just selling online.
Mm-hmm.
Take your strengths, whatever you're
Mm-hmm.
good at, your strengths. She's good at Etsy. She's good at Etsy. Etsy came easy to her. She understood it. She learned it. I mean, people are saying that they need they need Etsy for dummies, they need shipping for dummies, they
Yeah.
need all of these things. Hey, the For Dummies books could be,
I
something you
know.
could, you could look into doing.
I
That
know.
would be hilarious. What made you switch to full time was the next question.
Um, well, I think it was always a dream. With my first kiddo, who's 19 now, I didn't get to stay home. I didn't get to do any of that stuff. I had to work. And um, I kind of always regretted it. And, I didn't get a whole lot of
We call
time
it
with
mom
her.
guilt. We get it mom. We call it mom
Yeah.
guilt. Yeah.
And then when my second one came along, I wanted to be able to I wanted to try again and try to be able to go to those school things and be able to be here when he gets off the bus and not have to do before and after school care and all that stuff. So that was the dream. Now it didn't happen until he was 4 or something, or 4 or 5, but that was my goal. And it wasn't until I was making as much with my side hustle as I did at my normal job that I switched. So I made sure that I was making that much, but also I saved for a bunch of time. So I had, I think, almost a year's worth or more salary saved, so that I had a little bit of a buffer when I first started. Because, it's a little bit scary. You don't really know how things are going to go, and economy can change, and
All the things that keep
pandemic, and
people
yeah.
from taking that leap, all the things. But see, that's where your left brain analytical,
Yeah.
really, no, think about
Yeah.
it. Right brain's more impulsive, I think.
Right.
Right
Yeah.
brain's more impulsive, which is,
I tried not to be impulsive. I really wanted to be, but
yeah,
yeah.
it's bad. And when you have that battle going on, but I think that that's wise and it's good advice. So I call that the panic envelope.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you can prevent a panic by giving yourself a healthy cushion. That is so
Mm-hmm.
wise.
Mm-hmm.
So wise. And you just gave me an idea. Thank you for that. Thank you
Okay.
for that. Because honestly, I mean, I know that this is my future. I know
Mm-hmm.
that I want to retire doing this. I'd rather
Mm-hmm.
retire doing something I love
Yeah.
than something that just basically I get paid to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's that. But honestly, you give me hope because you've been doing this for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're asked about the saturation or you're asked about the competition, Lauren's like, I don't think about that because
Mm-hmm.
that's not me. I don't think about saturation because to me, there's none. And I
Mm-mm.
don't think about competition because I'm my own competition.
Yeah.
So there's
There's
that.
billions of doors out there that I can't serve them all. Y'all got to help me. I can't
Right?
do it all. You
Help me
can't
with
do
the
it all.
doors. He's like, help
So
me. Help me
yeah.
with these. Come on. I'll show you
Yeah.
how. I'll even
Yeah.
build your Etsy shop for you.
Yeah.
Let's do
So you
this.
can sell more of them. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Guys, we're going to wrap up here in about 20 minutes, just so you know. So if you have any additional questions, please feel free to share those. There are several people that are in the room right now, that are in the chat right now, that have been singing your praises, Lauren, with definitely you deserve them because of this. And it's not because we put you on a pedestal, because we know that you put your pants on one leg at a time.
I
Not
like I told you, I'm boring. I don't know why people want to come
she
to
says
this.
she's boring, guys. I mean, that is literally what she said to me. She's like, Claudia, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I'm boring. Has she been boring? I don't see that, but whatever. Stop labeling my friend Lauren that way because she's kind of fascinating to me. But here's the other thing, guys, is yes, she's got expertise. Yes, she knows her stuff. She's put time, effort. She makes sure that she makes Etsy her business, okay? Do not put these people on a pedestal. That's not what they want from us. They don't. They're human beings. Don't be afraid to ask a question. Don't treat them like they're untouchables. That's not. They're here to help, especially the coaches. Anybody that has coach, anytime they say, "Hey, I coach. I'm a coach. I'm a teacher." They want you to use that knowledge. They don't want you being like me a year ago and struggling to figure the things out.
Yeah.
They want to help. Okay. So talk about the groups that you actually do participate in, that you do speak to, like you do go share Etsy information in.
Um, well, first I have to tell you a funny story to
Go
that
ahead.
whole like pedestal thing.
Go ahead.
It was funny because the very first Wreath Makers Live, I can remember like back then, I think this was several years ago. I did a lot more lives back then than I do now. So I think I would like maybe my face was a little bit more recognizable back then. And I remember at the very first Wreath Makers Live, and I went to the bathroom, and I was literally in the stall of a bathroom, and the person next to me in the stall goes, "Is that Lauren Kilgore next to me in the stall?" I was like, "Yes." And I'm like literally sitting there. It was
Yeah,
funny.
doing your
No.
business, like the private place you're supposed to do
Yeah.
business. Yeah.
But I just thought it was funny that she was like recognized me for in the bathroom. But anyway, um, so the groups that I
Lauren, that's
actually,
weird.
it was a little weird. It was a little weird sitting there. It was a little weird. Um, but and I'll always remember that. But yeah, okay, so the groups that I have my own Etsy group, which is HSU Rockstars, and that's where I do just
HSU
Etsy.
rock stars. Eight. You
Mhm.
said that super fast.
Sorry,
HSU
HSU Rockstars. So it's
rock
Handmade
stars.
Sellers University Rockstars, and it's all Etsy. It's not like wreath designing and stuff. It's all like business Etsy stuff.
Right.
But I'm also a coach in Candy's group. And I love Candy to death. In the Candy crew, I do Etsy teaching in there once a month. Um, in Emily Waldo's group from time to time. We haven't had a regular schedule lately, but I'm sure we'll get back to it. And then in Southern Charm Wreaths, which is how to sell handmade. And so I'm a coach in Etsy coach in there. So I'm in a bunch of different places. Depending on again which style of person you like to teach you like some of the other stuff, or whether it's just mine is just purely Etsy. So.
So Etsy, as in Etsy, not specific to wreath making, but Etsy in general on how to
Right.
sell on
Yeah,
Etsy.
we have people in there that aren't wreath makers.
Right.
Because principle is the same. I mean, my courses are for anybody. My teaching is for anybody. My guide is for anybody. Now, I might use some of my examples because it's just what I, have at my disposal, but the principles are the same. We're just going to use different keywords and we're just going to photograph them differently, maybe, but the
Right.
tips are all the same. Yeah.
So, somebody in the comments actually said that you are famous to them, that they would be afraid to say anything to you. And I think it's funny how you guys witnessed this. I said pedestal, she went to toilet.
Yeah.
So just know that
That's my pedestal. that is that
just
was my
just
pedestal.
know that when you put Lauren on a pedestal,
Yeah,
that's the pedestal she thinks of.
that's the one.
So they're human beings. They
Yes.
are human beings, and they're doing this to help us, other human beings, do what we want to do and love it. Like they don't want us struggling. They
Mm-mm.
don't want to see us out here not figuring it out,
No, it
right?
frustrates me to see people close up shop and not be able to sell the things that they want to do or not be able to continue on because they're stuck somewhere and they don't know what to do next. They're like, they don't know how to do this thing or that thing or they're scared of it or whatever. It like frustrates me to no end because I'm like, I am just like ready to help. Like, all you got to do is ask. All you got
You're
to do
like,
is come.
hi,
Yeah.
hi,
Yeah.
I'm Lauren. I can help you. Reach
Mm-hmm.
out to me,
Yeah.
please. All
Yeah.
right, so let me brag a little bit, guys. She has a Facebook group. It's a membership group. It's 20 cookies a month. Literally, everything that she's talking about, she shares in that Facebook group. And you're in community with other people doing the same thing. That's a no-brainer for me. That's
Mm-hmm.
a no-brainer for me. Why wouldn't you invest? Now, do you have an extra 20 cookies a month? Maybe you do this month. Okay, so go get in there this month.
And
And
go
if you
check out
don't
all
get
the info. Yeah.
right, and if you don't have it next month, then you undo it. But let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you something. You have people that are always looking to gift you, to give you a present, Mother's Day,
Mm.
Valentine's Day, birthday. Gift me this.
Yes, to
Gift
help
me
my
stuff that's
business.
going to help
Yeah.
me. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
gift me things that are going to help my business. That's the
Mm-hmm.
gift that keeps on giving.
Right.
That's literally what I've told my family. Don't
Mm-hmm.
buy me stuff that isn't going to last. This will last.
Right.
This will push me forward. This will benefit me.
Uh-huh.
So invest in that way. If you can't see it for what it is,
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you something. Nothing will give you more more pride, more joy than investing in yourself, than
Uh-huh.
learning. then knowing what you're doing, it will give you a confidence boost. It really will.
Hmm.
Where did you get info on the Facebook group? From her,
Oh,
she
where do we
told
get?
me. She told me.
On my website on laurenkilgore.com, there's a link for like under services.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything is under her name. Like I said, genius. Lauren Kilgore. You just have to know her name.com.
Hmm.
That should be a jingle.
Sounds like one.
LaurenKilgore.com. But seriously, seriously, that is how you get information, and it's not unreasonable or it's super affordable. Don't go
Hmm.
out to dinner one day this month.
Hmm.
Go to her class, go get in
Yeah.
her group. It's
Because it's
worth
a
it.
big vault of information because it's been open, like I said, since 2017. So that's 6 years of weekly lives. I don't know how much 6 times 52 is, but
And you
like,
get to see Lauren 10 years ago.
yeah, I looked a lot younger. Yeah.
You know what?
Um,
My hair was different.
yeah, it wasn't so gray. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, guys, is there any other questions that you guys have for Lauren? I mean, she is sitting right here. Okay, what's the why? That's a big question that people always ask. Like, what's the why that keeps you going, that keeps you doing this?
Uh, I mean, I said why I wanted to go, full time with this is to be able to be home and, yeah, not have to work for somebody else.
Right.
And I think having that left brain inherently, I need the right brain part to like balance it out. And so I like to be able to, to do both. Um, yeah, I mean it's just fun to be able to work for yourself, to be able like I can go to Hobby Lobby today if I feel like. I can go out to lunch with my husband if I feel like today, or I can stay home and I can, pump out 20 wreaths today if I want to. So it's just so freeing to be able to do the things you want to do when you want to do them and not have
Literally.
to, yeah, not have to work for somebody else.
Yeah, and not have to feel guilty about it or
Mm-hmm.
let me ask you this. Because people say that when they go work for themselves, it's more like a 24/7 type thing. It's not necessarily like a 9 to 5 or 40 hours a week. So, what would you say is a good balance to keep yourself in check so that it doesn't feel that way?
I mean, you can set hours for yourself. Like I try to set like, okay, so when my, son goes to school in the morning, like maybe the morning hours, I will do computer work normally until like lunchtime, then I'll take a lunch break and then I'll go like design for the second half of the day and then I'll try to be done. So, I try to set like some parameters and some, a little bit of a sort of a schedule for myself so that I know that I'm still getting things done. But yeah, I'm still checking messages on weekends. I'm still answering questions at 9 o'clock at night. It's just like it's my personality too to just like always, I don't know. Just like my husband's like, you're always on your phone. But I mean, it's also I don't know.
Oh,
It's like somebody asks, I've got to answer. I'm like,
but you just brought something up because that's another thing. So the spouse, seriously though, because we do tend to be more attached to our phones because that
mm-hmm,
really is where our business is.
mm-hmm,
So what's a healthy balance, or do you guys have like a safe word that you say, okay, I need your time? Because it can be like something that really affects your relationship if you're not addressing it.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just try to, yeah, when we're together, I put it down or whatever. My son comes up to me and he says, put it down or whatever. I mean, it's like down, done. I'm not going to choose my phone over you guys at any day. If you tell me to put it down or if you need me for something, it's down. Um, but yeah, I think it's just, yeah, it is striking a balance and making sure that you're making time for it because that was the whole goal is to be able to be home to be with the family. So like I can't be on the phone if I'm trying to like this
And,
was the
and
whole
and
goal.
here's the other thing, guys. Give people grace. I mean, they'll get back to you. They'll communicate with you, but
Hmm.
understand that the whole purpose of this, like she said, was to be with her family. So her
Hmm.
family will always come first, right? And I
Hmm.
I like that you said that. But it's also creating healthy boundaries.
Hmm.
right? And they have to understand also that there's just sometimes that something has a time crunch on it, or something needs to happen, like this will
Hmm.
trigger this, that will trigger this.
Right.
So it's understanding and being respectful, I think. And it's a
Hmm.
mutual respect for each other, and be
Yeah.
like, hey, it's not like I'm going to be going down the slide at, a water slide and be on my phone and make sure
Right.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's appropriate for what it is. But like
Yeah.
for me, when I'm the passenger in a car, I don't see the point why I can't, especially if all we're doing is singing along to the radio and not really talking to each other.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't see the problem here.
Right.
Because I'm like, otherwise we wouldn't be saying anything anyway. I'm
Right.
engaging with what I would be doing if I was home. We're in the
Yeah.
car. It's okay. So stuff like that, just a healthy balance.
Yeah. And
All
it's
right.
different for everybody. So,
We have 5 minutes, guys. Just giving you a heads up if you have any additional questions for our friend Lauren, and just know that she lives, what is it, 20 minutes from the beach and never goes.
it's
She's my
hot and
she,
sandy.
she's my kind of people. I'm just telling you.
It's hot.
I grew up in South Florida. As a teenager and young adult, you would find me at the beach all the time.
Yeah.
As an older individual, that's not my jam. I have no interest in God's glitter, because that's what I call it. Sand
Hmm.
gets everywhere,
It's
right?
sandy and it's hot.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's hot, it's sandy, it's sticky, it gets everywhere, all those things. But when she said that, I was like, Lauren, you and I can hang out anytime. I mean, that is my jam. Like, I don't mind going to like a beachfront restaurant
Yeah.
and hearing the
Or
water and smelling
walking
the
just a
salt
little
air,
bit.
walking.
Yeah.
Yes. But man,
I ain't gonna sit there all day. It's not my
no,
thing.
there's so many things I could be doing other than that.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that. All right, somebody said I just jumped on. What is your class? I missed that.
All the classes you can find at laurenkilgore.com. If you're talking about the membership group, you can find that there too. But I have just, it's different courses. It depends on what you want. A course that's one and done, a group that's ongoing. It's all there under the services and courses on my
Yeah, so
website.
just laurenkilgore.com. You will have more than enough information. She has all different types of courses, classes, availability for all different price points. Will Lauren be making any appearances at any of the upcoming conventions or shows?
So far this year, I've been at a lot of different ones. I went to Vegas. I went to Candies in South Carolina. I went to Kansas City. I went to uh where was I?
You were,
Minnesota.
I know you were a lot, you were a bit all
And I'm
over the
about to go
place.
to Chicago in 2 weeks
Yeah.
to do one. And then, but as far as wreath making, I think the only other one is I'm gonna be at Candies in September or October when her next one is. Um, I think those are the last two I have scheduled for this year.
Do you
So,
enjoy traveling?
I mean, I'm not. Uh, yes and no. I mean, I kind of like every once in a while to kind of have a night where I don't have to put my kid to bed and I don't have to do all that stuff, and I can just have a night by myself. But I mean, I guess I've gotten more used to it. I used to be scared to death of flying, but
Really?
oh my God, I would never. But now I'm like,
It's the only way to go,
yeah.
honestly.
I
I
don't
mean,
like a long car ride, so I'm gonna fly, but I'm probably gonna hate it, every second of the. But I've been better.
she's
But
like, I'm better than I was, Claudia. Don't give me a hard time.
yeah,
For
I'll get on the plane.
me, it's how fast can I get there?
Yeah.
And it really depends on if I'm traveling with a grumpus,
Hmm.
I'm gonna leave that
Yeah,
grumpus.
it's fine by myself. It's a totally different experience than with a
Yeah,
husband or a kid or whatever.
so
Yeah,
different.
I can eat where I want to eat. I can go when I want to go. Arrive when I want to arrive. Yeah, yeah.
Somebody asked, any chance you will be at Mel and Tammy's in July? No.
No, I won't be there.
No, she
No,
won't be there in July. Guys,
no,
our time is up with Miss Lauren. Lauren, did it feel like 2 hours?
no.
I know. Everybody says that. It's so fascinating to me that we can spend this time and we could
Oh, we
talk
could have
for,
kept talking, like, and I
we
could
could
talk
have,
forever about Etsy
yep, we
stuff.
could have
Yeah.
totally kept talking more, but please check Lauren out at laurenkilgore.com for anything Etsy related. You will not be sorry. Lauren, thank you so much for spending this time with us. And
Yay.
guys, this video will drop on my YouTube, Claudia's Door Decor on YouTube, Monday morning, 6 a.m. That way, when you're getting ready before work, 6 a.m., you can watch and listen and learn all the things here that we talked about. You guys have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend, and we'll see you guys all soon. All right. Thank you, Lauren. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.